Hello everyone, I just want to make one more video, and I really got to get started. Much to do. You know, I haven't watched all this stuff going on, but the thing is, you know, so many looking to the world, and it's all the world they're filled with, and all these things that's being spoken. You know, I have not looked to these things. I knew that if I sought out, seek first righteousness, seek first the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, and then all these things will be shown to you. So I knew that if, you know, I allowed the work in me, and I turned off the world, and I allowed the Spirit to work. And I knew if you have that light in you, you will not be deceived by the world. It is through that light that is what has been worked in me these 4 years. So now I am taking I'm taking what has been done in me. Now I'm looking to what the world is saying through the eyes that the world has been taken out of. But I see, you know, and I'm going to say this briefly, because I see them all talking about the dates and all this. If you've allowed this work to be done in you, you don't have to conjecture what's going to happen or what's going on, because you will know. Those who have allowed the work and the light to be shown to them and revealed in them, they are going to know. They will not be taken unaware. They will not be thrown off and deceived by what the world does. So that, you know, but the multitude has been filled with the world, even these years, as the few of us have allowed the work in us. So, and I'm just now, you know, I knew that I needed to have the snares taken out of my life, had out of my eyes, had the world taken out, all that man had put in. That's the purging, making me able to see. And there's just so much that comes together now when you see. Now it's time, through that work that's been done. Now let's look and see what the world is doing. Now that we are able to discern what's going on in the world. But it's not our work, and it will be finished. You know, it will be made known to us, all things, through this same work, then the same Spirit that has worked within us. You know, but I just, you know, I was just watching video, and they're talking about what the world's doing and the dates, and how the world's hiding all these dates and all these things. And now that's all what you're talking about. But it seems like you're taking your information from the world itself. All these subliminal messages, and you think you're going to counteract the darkness and the work of the world by getting your information from the very world? You know, I don't know how everything's going to unfold here, but I know I will know. And those who have had this work in them will know, will see, will not be taken unaware, and, you know, they will understand what befalls the earth, what, you know. But anyway, it reminded me of, you know, a vision that I saw. This was even before, I don't know if this was before my opening of the book 20-some years ago. I think it was after, you know. But I remember, I have to hurry. And I've had a couple of things. These are just little things that the experience you've had through your life where you really don't know what they mean. You know, I didn't have. It's not from the understanding after this work that we're now looking back, understanding all these things. As we was going through our life, we did not. It's this final work that's making us able to perceive it rightly, what these things mean. But when I was watching this video, and I don't watch it, sometimes I'll just skip through, you know, because I really don't have time to even do what I am doing, you know, so I'm not going to have time to go play with the world and look at what, you know, they're talking about. But walk in the light, then you don't, you know, you don't you don't have nothing to do with the things of the world, and you won't be. And if you're in the light, you're not going to stumble over the snares that the world has laid. You're not going to fall into the net that the world has laid. You're surely not going to play the hand that the world has dealt to you when you're trying to defeat the world. But or overcome the world. But I can remember there was two, and I'm going to just share them real fast. I don't know how close they was together, but one, and it's funny because I was both times I was at, my house I grew up in, my grandmother's house, and I was, maybe that's because where I spent most of my life there. Even when I was older, I'd go back and forth. I always could fall back at grandma's, but and one, and later on, years later, me and my Uncle Tony hasn't really discussed these things here recently, but he had the same, my Uncle Tony's had the same vision here, and also he's had his own, things that he was shown, concerning his portion, and, but right now, these last 2 years, my Uncle Tony's been kind of not realizing to the fullness he hasn't, because he had, I'm not going to get into that right now, but he's knowing now it's time to, do what, there's no more time to put things off, and it's time to heed these things and look to these things. But on one, it was a beautiful, clear blue sky, and I looked up, and I believe it was going from north, and I don't know if that has any sense. I'm just saying I don't know if it signifies anything, but I'm pretty sure, because I think Tony said in his vision they was going to different, but I'm not sure. So in mine, it was, I looked up in the blue sky, and as far as the eye could see, there was black jets, and I believe they was coming from north, going south. It's a long time ago, to my recollection, but and I mean, as far, the whole sky you look, and it was just fighter jets. And understand, I did not have the understanding I have today, but when I saw them, and Tony did have more, because Tony saw angels battling. He saw light. He knew they was angels, he said. And that's how he perceived it. But he saw light and darkness battling in the sky, but he saw the whole multitude flying in. But mine, I just saw black jets coming from the north, and I knew they was going to battle, how I thought, and to my unlimited understanding of God at that time, I knew they was going to battle God, but they did not know it. They did not know who they was going to battle. That was that vision. I saw them. I knew they was going to fight against God, and they didn't know who they was fighting against. And I don't know. I haven't understood this. I don't even know. That's just something I thought dream vision. I didn't consider myself to have visions then, and I only consider a couple things that I've had as actual visions, but, I just consider that a dream, or maybe I just, I don't know. I'm just sharing, and then there was another time, and I think I've had this one twice. I always used to think it was when there would be color in it that was a vision, because sometimes you dream in black and white, but when you see actually bright colors, I don't know if that has anything to do with the separation, but I do have more understanding on the difference between dream and vision, but I don't understand completeness, But then I've had the other one twice, and I don't know if there was any differences, but just, I know one particular time, just say once for sure, because I know it was twice that I saw the fireballs falling from the sky, and I don't know, I don't think it was the same as that vision. I think it was a whole other, I think they was pretty close together during the time of my life that I had them, but And one other, I was at my grandma's office, standing at the side, just like I was in the other vision. And I remember at first I started seeing orange, orange fireballs, just fire rocks falling. And, one would be here and one would be here. But at first it was where you could actually see and escape as long as you was watching. And I'm not saying this to be fearful, because I see more in, sometimes there's more the spiritual meaning, and I don't understand this. I'm just sharing this, and I don't even know if I should, because I don't even know, I haven't understood it, and I usually don't like sharing until I understand something. And this was done way before the revelation began, that these things were seen. So maybe it was a dream, maybe I don't, but I know there's spiritual meaning to it. But at first you could escape, you could see where they was gonna fall, and then there was just here and there, and then all of a sudden they just more and started falling everywhere. And when I realized there was no escaping, and I remember having a baby, and I don't know, because my oldest son was older, he wasn't that small, and I had a baby, and I remember just going like that, and I got down and I just covered the baby on my knees when I knew, and that's all I remember. I just remember kneeling over the baby on my knees to cover the baby, and that's it. And I don't say these things fearful. Who knows? That could be from, who knows? I don't understand what that means. Maybe one day I will, but I don't say that for fearful. Just the world, mostly I was pointing out how the world was going. I knew they was going to fight against God. No. And then when I told my Uncle Tony that, he had, he said he had the same thing. But only he saw bright light in, he saw the planes, but when they battled, he saw lights and dark figures battling in the sky. So, but see, we look for the spiritual meaning of these things, so that's where and that's where I want to do a video on dreams and visions. And because what is given in a vision is to be understood in spirit, and man's carnal mind take these images, and and that's what the world's building you today, that image that you want to see. And I don't understand all things, I just know I will. And you don't have this great work done in you for in vain, And we are all closer to understanding the fullness. And I'm going to take some care of some things, and that's why I focus on the truth, on the things of spirit, on the things of light and life, and salvation. And because if you do this, then you will do well, because you're not going to worry about what happens in the world, because you will know the goodness. You will know there was so much more, and that what is taking place now is just part of what had to be, and part of the bringing in the fullness. I have no fear. All fear has been cast out. The only thing I've ever feared, even in these years, is not doing my part. Like I said, and like I spoke with my brother, happy feet, no, happy go lucky. How if you don't give, you feel like you're losing, that you're going to lose the gifts that you've been given. But the thing was, at the same time, so I have thought, if I would fail, but I know I can't fail, because it's not my word. And the word will be fulfilled in the thing into which it was sent. The work, this was done in myself, and in those who this work is done, not for ourselves, but for the work to be fulfilled. and I have much to say, and I will, I don't speak on what I just said, the vision for fear, just to show that's all that the world's doing is looking to the fearful, looking, but we understand there's so much more and more meaning to all these things, and we fear none of it. Because if we know what side we are on, and we are not following after the way of the world, and the much speaking of the world, and the much, these things have been purged from us, that we will not be blind and ignorant to the schemes, and we are being prepared. That's what this preparation is, that we will be prepared. Light against darkness. Two armies there. And that's all I say for now. Many blessings to you.